France's biggest ever Six Nations points tally, but there was a huge amount to be proud of for the Italians. Hello, amateurs. Welcome back to our Six Nations series. And I've got Mike with me again today. Mike, how you doing?
Yeah, mate. Good. A bit beaten up today. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, feeling good, mate. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good as well. Feeling fortunate that as an England fan, we got the win yesterday. But we're here to talk about the Italy-France game, which is finished, maybe half an hour ago. So it's all very sort of fresh. These are pretty much hot takes that we're going to have here in this one. Just a few pre-game stuff, though. Very interesting stuff. 50 caps up for Fischetti and Nicola Canoni. So a couple of words for those guys, Mike, from your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw the impact of Fischetti coming off early. He's one of our most physical, one of the most sort of, as we've previously spoken on one of the preview pods, that he's one of those people who you'd want in a game like this. So obviously his presence was felt, or lack of, I should say, was felt for a good part of 60 minutes when he got injured. And Nicolò Cannone, obviously he's been progressively getting better and better. And actually the past two seasons, he's been sensational to the point where he's actually been linked abroad as well in France. So, he's a player who's integral to us, and, they're both fantastic players for the national team.
Yeah, I thought Canoni showed up really well in terms of physicality today as well. He was putting himself about to some degree. Was Fischetti, was he carrying an injury into the game, or does that happen just today?
Yeah, I think that happened just today, but he looked in quite a lot of discomfort, and obviously he was shaking his head quite a lot as well. So it's going to be an interesting one to see sort of when the injury reports come out, probably on Tuesday, I'm guessing, because we typically would have the Monday, but as it's a Sunday game, I assume we'll find out in a couple of days' time. But he'll be a massive loss if he's out for any sort of sustained period. So fingers crossed with him. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah, I've been super impressed with him this championship. Also pre-match, Sergio Parisi delivering the match ball, which is lovely to see. Is that the first time since he's retired that he's kind of had something official, or was that just?
It's one of those where it was like a ceremonial thing, right? So he did come in, and obviously it was brilliant for him and his family to be recognised in that manner. And obviously he played in France for so many years as well, so it probably had that added sort of amount of emotion for him because it's like a second home, and obviously his kids are playing there, and they got sort of brought up there as well. So it was one of those where it was nice for him, and it was probably. It was probably maybe a slight foreshadowing of what was coming. I think it probably got some of the French players riled up as well, seeing an ex-opponent on the field that didn't need to be there. So here we go.
While we're talking about the French, just the last little bit of thing pre-game. My God, their kit is beautiful, isn't it? I mean, the Italian kit's amazing as well, but the French is just something so special.
Yeah, it's always been stylish, hasn't it? I remember I think it was 2012 with the Adidas, where it was like the actual, their tricolor, like blue, white, and red, and like they never miss a step with their kit. It's always something beautiful.
Yeah, it really is, and they started well as well. And so pre-game, I thought the Italians needed to really like chop the French down, and that's easier said than done. But they did it in the first few phases. But unfortunately, they just brought pressure on themselves, the Italians, conceding a turnover penalty in the very first play, and then conceding what looked like quite a soft line break to Moefana. But again, the Italians did defend it. So I had mixed feelings at this point, because I was like, great, they're defending really well, but they were absorbing so much pressure. I was just like, this is going to tell at some point.
Yeah, well, I think what we learned today, and there was lessons out of today, as much as people probably don't think there was, is once again we need to work on transition, because France, being France, they're stacked with players that can provide offloads and get through tackles and frankly just win the collision, which was happening constantly. But what we saw there is a couple of offloads unlocking like our defense, because we typically do 2 up tackles. So one offload will take out already 2 defenders, and the French are probably best in the world at attacking around the ruck. So, or lack of, because it doesn't exist because of the offload. So I think there's a lot for us to learn, and we saw nearer the end, still unfortunately not good enough, but we saw nearer to the end where we were looking to adapt, but we need to have answers to that. So I think, this is a really important lesson for our young team. And also I think, they probably did exploit maybe some of the inexperienced players. By my count, I think of all 11 tries, I think 9 of them came off Jezzy's wing. Obviously, I'm sure someone will confirm that for me, but someone having their first start, and obviously we're all very excited to see him play. They saw the inexperience there, and that they exploited it. So lessons, mate. Lots of lessons, lots of work to come in for the next few weeks ahead of, it doesn't really get any easier against the English or the Irish. So lots to learn, mate. And hopefully lessons to be learned very quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing I was really encouraged to see, and it's something I really wanted to see from the Italians, was a return to a slightly more attacking mindset. And they definitely had that today. And they got some more of their flow and like beautiful layered attack that I've been used to seeing the last couple of years. So I was really encouraged by that, certainly. And it bore fruit as well, with Menoncello getting put through by Brex with that beautiful no-look pass. So there was definitely some great stuff on the attacking side.
Oh, for sure. And it's one of those where I think we were maybe slightly guilty of the past of overplaying, and right at the start we saw a trademark Kieran Crowley exit where we played it wide, and that's what I was hoping to see more of, because I think if we're going to look at this French team, we know what they are. We know they're monsters in mid. If you're just going to bang it up in the middle of the park, but actually there's space out wide, and that exit proved to that. We didn't need Seb to do what Seb does and just try and punch a hole, because they're big boys but they're slow, and I was hoping that we would see more and more of that. But unfortunately, as nice as some of the attacking shapes were, like I said, some clunkiness there, maybe some rust, but for me the most exciting thing from this game is I think we can be so much better. I think we can be so much better. And like you said, there was glimpses where it worked, and we saw sort of the outcome. But I think we could be so much better than we were today. So I'm genuinely like as positive as I could probably be with a score line like that. But lots to do.
Yeah, a man you mentioned there, we've spoken about him before, Seb Negri. I thought he had a really outstanding game today. And actually, if anything, he showed up even more after he came back up from coming back off from injury. Like, he seemed to carry the ball even more after that. So I thought he had one of his better games today.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of those where, maybe he did slightly less in defense than he has done over the past couple of games, because I think he was topping the charts on the tackles. But by God, like, if we need someone who can, make try and win the contact from a standstill, he's that guy, and he does it consistently. And if only, again, I feel like maybe if we had a couple more of those players getting front football, and especially when we're on the back foot, who knows, like, maybe we'd be better set for our attacking shape. So I think that's probably going to be questioned for the summer, where we go away to South Africa. So yeah, it just gets easier from here, gents.
Frying pan into the fire. I mean, all this being said, the French played some absolutely wonderful rugby, and I did the post game live kind of thing, and they're just so good at attacking into little seams. They see, like, if there's half a gap, they get a player in there. As soon as the defenders turn in to face them, they're playing out somewhere else, or going through that half gap and getting an offload. And it's so difficult to deal with initially, like, or you could stand shoulder to shoulder and then they'll just kick it over your heads and score out wide anyway. So it's incredibly difficult to deal with. And as much as I felt for the Italians, I was also just purring watching some of the French play. It was absolutely magical at times.
Yeah, I mean, like, anyone who loves rugby can't really, bemoan what we saw today. Like, it was one of those where Italy had a bit of a free shot, they gave it a crack, but the French, being the French, when they turn up, hurting from, losing in England, and watching the pre-game analysis, watching where they realistically butchered 4 walk-in tries against England, and the scoreline could have been much, much closer to like what we sort of. But like, the point is, I think it's one of those where there are it's just stacked out talent from, bench all the way to the starting 15. And like, they're one of those teams where, there's always going to be arguments about who are, the best team, and Ireland will put their hands up. And obviously the Southern Hemisphere, like there's a couple of teams that put their hands up there, but the French, when they're working and like when they're on form, they're just up there with the best consistently. So yeah, it was nice. It's a shame it was against us. I would have liked to have seen it maybe a week earlier, but yeah, we'll take it. It's a good advert for the Six Nations.
Yeah, it is. And like you say, that they're the when they're working, they're the best, but they also look the best. Like they're the most like attractive, most sort of organic looking rugby team. There's very little structure in what they do, and they're just real rugby basics, to be honest, which I love seeing on the pitch.
Yeah, they thrive in transition, don't they? And we're weak in transition. And yeah, like I said, I think they gave almost like an archetype for England and Ireland. They're probably taking a couple of notes. I genuinely thought France were going to maul everything after we saw what happened, but we seem to have tidied that up, and more to work on, mate. It's just it's a process.
Another little thing from the Italian side, which I really loved, and I think it was probably Nicotera not taking too well to being benched when he got that chance to put a shot on Luku towards the end. Wow, he tackles like an absolute rocket, doesn't he? It's so impressive.
Yeah, it's funny actually. So his nickname is Il Mulo, which means the mule. So partly because of where he comes from, but like mules traditionally very strong animals, and so that's where the parallel comes from. But he was spitting feathers. Like the close up afterwards, you could just see it in his face. He was spitting, and obviously a lot of these players play in France, right? So there's that added element where they don't want to go back to the clubs and hear what happened. So yeah, the players that are transitioning to France or have been playing in France, you could see it meant a lot to them not to lose in the manner that we actually ended up losing.
Yeah. Breck's got over for a try though. A brilliant offload from Rutzer. I can't say I've personally ever seen anything like that from him, but he almost did a second one soon after as well. Very niche question here though, Mike. Brex has got 92 written on his strapping. Do you know what that's all about?
So actually speculation here, right? And so he's one of the players that's been linked to France. And I messaged directly in our WhatsApp group. I was like, he doesn't mean Racing 92 by any chance, does he? So hey, you heard it here first. If that's the case, then 100% I think that's what it was. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes out of it. But if it did, fair play, what a way to announce it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, I love that. That is brilliant. I'm so glad I asked that question now.
Yeah.
All right, what else was there? I mean, the French just scored some wonderful tries in the second half. It was a shame in some respects because it felt like a real contest in the first half, all the way until I think France scored just before half-time to make it 17-35. But Italy were winning after 20 minutes. So it was reasonably close through that opening period. And although the game obviously went away from Italy in the end, it was just, so it went away as a contest. But yeah, some of those French tries, some of the play, some of the offloading. There was a brilliant thing from Louis Bielbieri running down the left. He got past the ball up here and just sort of caught it one-handed and just batted it back inside in one motion. And it's just like, it's the creativity as well to be able to do that in such a high-speed collision sport. Like it was, yeah, there's some mind-blowing stuff out there.
Yeah, they see the sport a few seconds ahead, right? And like you said, that LBB basketball sort of like single hand catch, and that's stunning stuff. And again, sort of not to speak about the wing play, but they definitely targeted that, and they did their homework. And obviously, that's the difference between the top 4 team and a top 10 team at the moment. That is the difference, right? If we look at the teams around us, we're looking at Fiji, we're looking at Wales, that's the difference. And I do think we probably went in with a higher sort of risk, high reward type mentality. I'd love to see how many dominant tackles we hit, because we were smashing the charts before the game. I think we did 40, and the next team was 16. So like from dominant tackles, like our defensive structure worked really well. But then again, high risk, high reward, right? They get an offload and they make a line break, and France with a line break is different to maybe Wales with a line break, or maybe it's one of those, right? So yeah, it's like I said, amazing players, and you can't bemoan rugby today. Shame about the result, but fair play to France.
Yeah, and the last thing that I thought was a real shame is that you guys didn't get the fourth try for a bonus point as well, because I thought your ambition and a lot of the quality of your play really deserved it. And to get the third try was about 60 minutes, I think, when Garbisi went over.
Yeah.
Like, to have 20 minutes left in the game when it was all quite loose as well at that point. Yeah, I was a bit gutted for you guys that you didn't get that fourth try.
Yeah, to be honest with you, so was I. That was the thing that stung the most. I thought we were good for a bonus point. I thought we deserved it. Listen, like, everyone can sort of point, rub the green here and there. I thought Jersey should have probably hacked the ball on instead of trying to pick it up as well. That seemed to me like if had he's exceptionally fast as a winger, and we haven't really seen that from him. We didn't really see the opportunity, and again, lessons learned from an inexperienced winger on his starting debut. So yeah, they'll probably, hopefully that's not something that will come back to haunt them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one last very niche question here, and this is about the pitch there in Rome. There's always pigeons on the pitch, Mike. Is there any kind of, why is that? Is it just because it's like a tourist city and there's always pigeons around? But
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think there's anything sort of too odd about that. Obviously, it's slap bang in Rome, and it's a highly populated area. It's one of those, right? It's to be fair, I'm surprised we don't see more in Twickenham. I know obviously it's in Southwest, but it is in residential and stuff. Maybe they're just slightly better with the sharpshooters in Twickenham than they are in Rome.
Who knows? Okay, mate, we'll bring this to a close. Is there any other sort of things you want to say? Any other players you want to pick out at all from this game?
Yeah, so I think obviously one player who did stand out sort of despite the result. I thought Spaniolo to come on again. He's one of those players who he has so much sort of potential, and he has such a and to be honest with you, we didn't get dominated in the scrum against a team where, frankly, they've dominated every other team that they've played. So again, going into England, going into Ireland, maybe that's something where we could potentially target some scrum penalties. And yeah, Spaniolo, fantastic player. Can't believe he managed to front up and frankly delivered unexpectedly, obviously, coming on at 20 minutes and playing the entire match, playing it well. So Spaniolo,
yeah, he's got some what's the word, guts about him. I think he's just got some real intestinal fortitude. I think he's got good mental side to his game, along with the physical stuff. Yeah, I'm impressed with him as well. Okay, mate, we'll bring that to an end. People at home, that's what we think, but what do you think? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll join you there for a friendly conversation. Brilliant performance by the French. Pick out one of your favourite tries and let us know the favourite moment from it. Make sure you go and follow Mike over on Fratelli di Rugby, Italian rugby podcast, for loads more detail about the Italians. Mike, thank you so much for your insight today. There's some real nice questions I gave you there, so I appreciate it.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure, mate.
Absolutely. People at home, you can subscribe there. Watch that one next. And don't forget to get out and play.